Hi guys, what we're showing you today is a brief lesson plan that incorporates aspects of the 8 Indigenous ways of learning, in particular things like land links, links to community, going out to the Cranbourne Gardens and discussing local flora, a little bit of fauna with the guides there. Looking then to relate this back to classroom studies on supply chains, food sources, sustainability, things like that, and it's culminating in some questions and making a fruit salad that blends traditional knowledge from the class itself with traditional knowledge of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. So I hope you enjoy. Cheers. Morning with Nimel, and he's been showing us around all the native flora here at the Cranbourne Gardens. Showcases all of these Australian plants that we've been seeing today that are obviously unique to our country and more specifically to our area here, which is the traditional lands of the Boonwurrung people, which we've been discussing. And of course we wish to pay our respects to the Boonwurrung people along with their elders, both past and present, and give them thanks for sharing their knowledge, like that which we learnt this morning of Nimel, and of course for the use of their land. So Nimel's been showing us around all different kinds of uses for the different plants and different flowers and that sort of thing, as you saw this morning. And what we're going to do now, with his permission, is he's showing us the native cherry, and he's told us that he's happy for us to be able to pick a few of these plants off the tree behind us that we've found, and we're going to use those a little bit later for a bit of a cooking exercise, which I'm a little bit excited about. So. Alright, first of all, I'll show you guys up to the tree. Paul showed us this morning. This is the native Australian cherry, and obviously the fruits off this, as we have tried, are very sweet. Not quite as sweet as the cherries you might be used to, but along with that they have been used for many other uses. Does anyone else remember one of the other uses that he was discussing that they were being used for? Jigglypuff. That's right, Jigglypuffs. They use the sap for snake bites and things like that to help not only alleviate the pain but also to help draw the venom out. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and pick a couple of these, as we were shown by Nimel this morning. And that's why it is important that we ask someone's permission who is knowledgeable in these things before we go and pick things like this. Totoro. Well, yes, that's a good point. We want to get permission off the people who own the tree, and it's always nice to be able to learn to do it the right way so that we're not damaging the plants as well. Anyone else think of any other reasons why we might want to seek the permission and talk about this with someone who's more knowledgeable to begin with? Picks. Absolutely, we don't go eating things that we're not familiar with, especially berries and stuff like that. We can get very sick, possibly even die. So I'm going to go ahead and pick one of these first, as we were shown to this morning, and then I'll ask each of you to come up in turn, nice and orderly, and you can have a go at picking one each. So here we go. So nice and gently, making sure we're not damaging the plant, just getting the fruit. There we are, just like that. So who wants to have a go next? Alright, Jigglypuff, you're up first. Let's see, there you go. Remember how I showed you? It's nice and gentle so that we're not damaging the plant. You just want the fruit. Oh, very hard to get off. Oh, good job. Alright, that's yours. You want to sit back down with that one? Okay, Totoro, your turn, buddy. Remember how I showed you? Nice and gently, so we're not damaging the plant. Who wants the fruit? It's okay if you get a bit of stick with it. We don't want to go ripping the whole thing off, do we? Good job, buddy. Vulpix, lucky last. Let's get this one right up the top here. Can you get up there? There we go. You should be an expert at this now. You've watched everyone else do it. Oh, beautiful job. Classroom now, we've had our little bit of adventure down at the Australian Garden, and did you guys enjoy that? Awesome. So it was a bit more fun than sitting in the classroom, sort of going through books, looking at computer images and things like that, actually getting out there and doing it. It's a bit of sun, a bit of fun, some exercise, and just relating back to some other things that we've been learning about lately with supply chains and food and things like that. And, like the ingredients we've been using today are all nice and local to us. And can anyone tell me why they think that might be an important thing? So,
Jigglypuff.
Yeah, that's definitely a point. They're easier to get to. Yeah, that always makes a lot more sense. It's not a lot. You're not going to want to have to travel for a really long time if you're hungry to get something, are you? So that makes a lot of sense. Anyone else?
Totoro.
Well, that's right. Because the plants are local, like us, they've become adaptive to their local surroundings. So they're used to the weather that we get here and the types of soil and things like that. So they're going to grow better and obviously produce more fruit. So that just sort of makes sense, doesn't it, to use local things? And again, back to the supply chains we're talking about. Anyone else?
Vulpix.
That's right. Well, it comes back to both the points that we've just talked about. It's much more sustainable and energy efficient to source our food locally, isn't it? Instead of trying to get it from really far away or overseas, because then we're going to spend lots of energy, and that's also time that the fruit might deteriorate. We've got to pay for shipping and refrigeration costs and all that sort of thing. So it's definitely important to keep it nice and local, as we discussed. So very good answers all. All right, so we've got in front of us here our, I guess you'd call them traditional fruits that we're used to seeing in fruit salad. We've got an orange, an apple, and a kiwi fruit that we've all seen at the supermarket before. But what we've just learned about today, we have our cherries in here as well. So we're going to go ahead and use some of our cooking skills to create a fruit salad. So I'm going to get each of you to help me peel one of the fruits each. And we're going to do what with our cherries first?
Totoro.
That's right, buddy. We're going to wash them. Always important to wash our fruit and vegetables before we eat them, as well as our own hands. So let's get into that, and we can start making up this fruit salad. What do you guys say? Okay, we're all done, guys. That was an awesome job. You've all packed up very well. So, just before we get stuck into this beautiful looking fruit salad, just go over a couple of the things that we've learned today. So Vulpix, why is it important to speak to someone who is knowledgeable on the subject of native fruits and flowers before we just go out and pick them?
Vulpix.
Well, that's right. It's respectful, one, of their property. It's also, two, a lot safer way of doing it. We're using another person's knowledge on something that could be potentially very dangerous. We don't just go picking random fruits and berries and flowers and eating them, do we? So Niall was nice enough to share his knowledge with us today, and he's been studying this for a very long time, so he's very knowledgeable and making sure that we're doing the right thing, not hurting the plants, and yeah, being safe and having fun, obviously. So Totoro, why are we using local plants? Why wouldn't we be using some exotic, far-off plants from a tropical island that's nowhere near us?
Totoro.
Well, that's right. As we discussed, it's more sensible to get fruit from close by because it's not going to deteriorate it. It doesn't cost as much to transport it. The plants are obviously going to be a lot more suited to the native conditions of where we are, and it's just a lot more fun getting out in your local area and having a look around, isn't it? Very good. Okay, and finally, Jigglypuff, going back to some of the things that Niall taught us today. He obviously taught us a lot about the local indigenous fruits and flowers and things like that, but besides eating them, what were some of the other uses that he gave us this morning?
Jigglypuff.
Well, that's right, they can be used as medicine, to treat people if they're sick, and as with snake bites, as you mentioned, with the native cherry, with the sap from that. They're also used to make materials and weapons for hunting and things like that, and building nets for when they go fishing, used in their housing and things like that. So lots and lots of really interesting uses that we might not have been aware of had it not been for Niall's local knowledge and him sharing that with us. It's very easy to take for granted a lot of these plants and trees that we just walk past every day. I guess because we don't really understand the uses. So hopefully you guys have learned a little bit more about that today and understand a little bit more about the traditional uses and the cultural significance of the plants of the local area. So I guess that's everything. Let's get stuck into this fruit salad.